a lot of people don't understand when you're in the middle, when you're in it, and when you're flowing and when you're doing your thing. When something happens or it's interrupted, you don't have time to always. It doesn't always come out real nice, your response. So like if I'm playing, if we're in church and I'm playing and the service is going, and I hear the guitar player hit a wrong note, I we're in the middle of it. So I don't have time to be like, that's okay, Johnny. You'll get it right next time. Mm-mm. I wish it did come out like that. But sometimes when it happens, I'm like this. We went over this in rehearsal. It happens. I mean, you remember when Draymond Green and Kevin Durant got into it? I mean, it happens. It happens all the time because you're in the middle of it, and when you're going and you're flowing, words don't always come out the right way. But what we have to understand is words do hurt. I mean, there's so many scriptures on the power of the tongue and words and all this stuff. We have to be understanding on one end that your leader is not always going to say like the nicest thing. It's not always going to come out so graceful. But, and this is the flip side of it, if we as leaders have been called to lead and have this Holy Ghost power, and we're called to do this, and we got power to do this, and we got power to do that, why don't we have enough Holy Ghost power to go back and check on people and say, hey, are you okay? Or, and I know this is crazy. I know this is about to sound crazy. I don't even know how to put this out there. Or sometimes say, I don't even know how to say this, because I know this is gonna be real controversial. I don't say, I'm sorry. Ooh, I know that's like a cuss word. I know it's like a cuss word for us. But I remember, real talk, I remember, because I'm going to use myself as an example. I remember one time I was doing a rehearsal. I'm flowing, I'm teaching, and somebody's just in the middle of it just asked a question. And it was the wrong time to ask a question. And then the question too, and my reply to the question was kind of real harsh. I didn't cuss at him or nothing like that, but it wasn't the night. I could have answered in a better way. But like I say, I was up teaching at that moment, and at that moment, after I replied, after it came out of my mouth, I immediately felt convicted. Now this is me personally. I was convicted. I didn't say nothing else after that. He didn't walk off. He didn't walk off. He didn't leave like my sister. But we finished the rehearsal. When rehearsal was over, I still felt that thing on me. So I contacted somebody else. I said, do you have such and such number? I just want to call them. So they gave me the number. I called them, I think maybe about an hour later. And I just said, hey, I just wanted to check on you, make sure you were cool. And he was cool. He didn't have no issues. But I felt convicted. And I told him, I said, my response was a little harsh, So I just want to apologize for my response. And he was fine, but I still had to apologize and get that off of me. And we were cool. Everything is cool. So what I'm saying is, nobody is perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. And like I say, especially when you're flowing, stuff doesn't always come out the nicest. But you ought to have enough Holy Ghost power. If you got all this and you speak in tongues and we can do all of this and we got power to do that, and we can lay hands on the sick and we do all that, blah, 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 blah. We can do all of that. We ought to be able to say, I'm sorry. We ought to be able to just check, hey, I just want to check on you and make sure you were cool. I just want to make sure you understood what I was saying. Sometimes it's not the way you said it. Sometimes it's when you said it. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing for me to say something to my wife. I say, hey, I'm gonna tell you, them greens you made, they were not too hot. I'm gonna need you to get in the spirit with them greens. Now, if I tell her that and it's just me and her, that's one thing. But if I tell her that and she's around her mom and all her friends and stuff like that, she might feel some kind of way, like Dad, you just gonna talk about my greens? You gonna talk about my greens in front of Shirley? And sometimes you could mean what you were saying. Like, I don't take back what I said. I meant what I said, but I want to apologize for the way it came out. I just want to make sure we're cool. We need to be mature enough to have those kind of conversations. Oh, I'm preaching right now. Funny story. I won't say the name of the church, but I was at a church. The pastor gets up in front of the worship department. There was a situation that happened. The pastor got up in front of everybody, excuse me, and said, I apologize. I dropped the ball. And I was like, what in the world? I had never, ever heard a pastor apologize. And when you think about that, that's a shame. The only time I had ever seen pastors apologize is when they got caught sleeping with, that's the only time I was used to hearing pastors apologize. I mean, I'm like, wow, he admitted that he made a mistake. He admitted that he was human. Wow. And that blew me away. And for me personally, I had so much more respect for this guy because he did that. I'm like, wow. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Everybody's stuff stinks sometimes. We all got a little stink. I got a little stink right now. I'm working on, Every now and then we all need to freshen up. Every now and then we all need to get some Irish Spring. And that's okay. I can do a rehearsal and I can get an attitude with somebody and they have nothing to do with them. It's just, I ain't had no sleep the last 2 days. And now but when you have those moments, you got to be mature enough and Christian enough to go back to the person and say, hey, you okay? The way I said such and such, I ain't had no sleep. The Bears just lost. I got a lot on my plate, man. I'm sorry if I offended you. And you would just that little thing. You would be surprised how that would free somebody up. Because some of us, we got folks out here that want to, if they could, they would just knock us off a bridge and throw us in the lake. Because we're so stank as leaders. We got to do better, church. We got to do better. Last but not least, when you're going forth, whatever it is, when you do what you do, you don't always realize what you said or how it came across. So if you find yourself as one of the people that were hurt or offended or embarrassed, pray about it, whatever. And if like you just really bothered, really hurt by it, let them know. A lot of times when we're hurt by words or something like that, we don't ever let the person know. We just dog them out behind their back, or we just leave and never come back. But that's not how stuff gets resolved. So, if you're that hurt or, feel some kind of way, let them know. And you'd be surprised what would happen sometimes when you just go and talk and then you find out like, oh, I didn't even know it came across that way. And a lot of stuff just be little misunderstandings because we don't communicate. So if you find yourself in that position, like let the person know, because like I said, we're all human and we all make mistakes, and I can say something or do something and not even realize that I did it, or not even realize that it came across that way because I didn't mean it for it to come across that way. All that kind of little stuff that can be resolved if we simply communicate in love and in righteousness and holiness. Okay, I'm done. All right. Woo. That was a lot. I'm tired. I might take a break. I might go on a sabbatical. That took a lot out of me.